The dinner table was lit like a palace. Crystal glasses shimmered, silver forks clinked, and laughter from men in tailored suits echoed through the billionaire's mansion. At the head of the table sat Richard Halloway, one of the wealthiest. Men in the city, ready to impress his guests. Platters of gourmet food lined the table, steam rising, aromas filling the air. But just as he raised a spoonful toward his lips, a shrill, desperate voice cut through the elegance. "Don't eat that." The room froze. Every head turned toward the doorway where a ragged boy stood. Dirty clothes, tangled hair, eyes wide with panic. Guards lunged forward instantly. "Get him out!" one barked, grabbing the child by the arm. But Richard raised a hand. "Wait. What did you say, boy?" The boy's chest heaved, his voice shaking but firm. "Don't eat that food, please." A ripple of confusion spread across the table. Guests whispered, scoffing, "Who let this beggar in?" "What?" "Nonsense." But Richard narrowed his eyes. Something in the boy's tone wasn't madness, it was certainty. He set down his spoon slowly. "Why shouldn't I eat it?" he asked. The boy's lips trembled. "Because it's poisoned." Laughter exploded from the guests. "Poison? In a billionaire's mansion? Impossible." One man slapped the table. "Throw him out, Richard. He's trying to ruin the evening." But Richard studied the boy closer. His face was pale, hands shaking, but his eyes were pleading. Not for himself, but for Richard. "You don't understand," the boy said. "I saw what they did. I live in the alleys near the back of this house. I was hungry, I was searching for food in the trash, and I saw one of the kitchen staff pour something into the stew." Silence. A servant at the corner flinched. Richard caught it. His heart thumped harder. He motioned for the guards. "Bring me the stew, now." The head butler stammered. "Sir, surely this is—" "Now!" Richard thundered. The bowl was set before him. He didn't eat. He pushed it toward the boy. "Smell it." The boy leaned forward, hesitant, and nodded quickly. "That's it. I know that smell. Rat poison. My father used it before he—" His voice cracked. "Before he died." Gasps filled the room. A wealthy guest coughed nervously. "Ridiculous. He's lying." But Richard wasn't convinced. He called in Officer Daniels, his private security chief. The bowl was tested immediately. Seconds felt like hours. Finally, Daniels returned, face grim. "Sir, the boy is telling the truth. It's poisoned." Chaos erupted. Guests leapt from their chairs, horror spreading. Richard's hand clenched into a fist. His eyes darted toward the servants. "Who did this?" he demanded. The boy pointed shakily. "Him, the man in the white apron. I saw him." Guards seized the cook instantly. He fought, shouting, "I was paid. I was paid to do it." Richard's jaw tightened. "Paid? By who?" The man refused to answer, eyes wild with fear. Richard turned back to the boy, who now stood trembling, tears brimming. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Eli," the boy whispered. "I didn't want to come inside, but I couldn't let you eat that." His voice broke. "Even if I'm nobody." The guests were stunned. This homeless boy, ignored by the world, had just saved a billionaire's life. Richard's chest tightened, in shame. All his life, he had brushed past children like Eli, on sidewalks, under bridges, begging at corners. He never thought twice, and now one of them had risked everything to warn him. Richard stood, his commanding voice filling the room. "This boy is not a nobody. He's the reason we're alive right now." He turned to Eli, his tone gentler. "You saved me, and I won't forget it." Police dragged the cook away. The dinner ended, but the story didn't. That night, Richard had Eli cleaned, fed, and given a bed. As the boy devoured food with shaking hands, Richard watched silently. For the first time, He realized his fortune meant nothing without humanity. Days later, when reporters asked about the incident, Richard didn't boast about surviving an assassination attempt. Instead, he put his hand on Eli's shoulder and said, "The world judged him by his clothes. I judged him by his courage. He may have saved one life tonight, but he taught me how to live mine differently." The boy who once slept on sidewalks now had a roof, an education, and a chance, all because, on the night when power and poison shared a table, his voice was the only one that mattered.